Welcome back to The Realm of Ideas is Free to All, back at the New York Botanical Gardens here in the Bronx on a beautiful day. A little bit overcast, but still beautiful. Anyway, I'm excited to bring your attention to one of my closest friends and colleagues, Ahu, who is a tenured professor at City College, New York, architecture, doing some very interesting interdisciplinary work with in science. And Ahu, hello.
Hi everyone.
Okay, tell us a little about yourself.
Thank you first of all, Bruce, to have this chance to talk to you in this beautiful environment. So as Bruce was mentioning, I'm Ahu Aydogan and I'm associate professor at City College of New York, Spitzer School of Architecture. And mostly I'm working in building integrated systems in architecture and to save energy, and my specialty is about indoor air quality, kind of energy, and more biological ways to integrate to the architecture.
So you're actually doing real architecture by kind of working with other people who enhance our knowledge of what we do because of the interdisciplinary realities.
I think I'm originally from Turkey. When I came to this country to do a PhD, my PhD program is mostly working with interdisciplinary teams and groups. That's why I got used to work with a bunch of different expertise in the project that I'm working on. So it gives me an opportunity to know the different fields much better. And as we were discussing before too, it's kind of the point here is we cannot know everything, and if you are doing kind of interdisciplinary work, you have to find collaborators from different disciplines, science, engineering. And since we are the architects, and in the science it could be biology, chemistry, physics, but also social sciences at the same time. So, and the most important thing is when you sit on the same table, how you can make the conversation and how to make the project move forward. That's the key, in my opinion.
Yeah, because that's actually how we met. I mean, what was interesting was, and we met through an interdisciplinary relationship through an entomologist at the Museum of Natural History, Lou Sorkin.
Yeah.
So Lou had known Julie because Julie had an artist in residence at the Museum of Natural History.
Yes.
And Julie's over here. Say hi, Julie.
Hello.
Hi. So anyway, so Julie invited, Neil had met, Ahu would talk to Neil talked to Julie, and then we all kind of met. Yeah. And what was interesting was we all kind of came with that kind of hey, what is this thing? You know, how does this work? So we got a chance to actually use your project, which is a beautiful project, to kind of start to open up exchanges for potential activities in architecture. And architecture is actually a very complex field of interrelated disciplines. So here's a question. Okay, I'll open it up to both of you guys. Because you both, I mean, I consider Julie a great architect, even though she makes paintings and stories. But so my question would be, in terms of architectural education, given what we usually include, what disciplines should we start to include in the basic study of architecture? Like what should we add that's not there now?
I think nowadays it has already changed. I can say that because during my undergraduate education, architecture known as just designing a place, right? Even not building it, because civil engineers are building it. So, but nowadays the mindset, or I can say when I'm teaching, my mindset most of the conditions is kind of to make them know about architecture is not only the design. Architecture is the knowledge about different disciplines, and the point is becoming when you know what you want to do and there are things that you can achieve that goal, architecture is serving them. So as kind of great architects or designers, if you know your goal, where to go, you can approach that. That's what I can say. It's kind of a broad knowledge, and get that knowledge, digest it, and make it to the design. That's what I can say.
Okay,
But
Julie.
Julie is kind of
Yeah, tell
having
us.
that great.
I think you're.
My thumb's in the way.
That's okay. It's classic to have a thumb right in the middle of a photo.
Yes, exactly. I know.
Or it wouldn't be a family
Exactly.
photo.
It wouldn't be a family photo.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think there are three things that I would add at the core level of a multidisciplinary architectural education. The first is drawing. Drawing is fundamental to not only getting down what's in your mind, whatever that is, whether it is transcribing music or drawing lizard.
Oh, cool.
Or drawing your ideas for a chemistry experiment or graphic arts. But drawing first, I would say, and this is going to sound odd, classical music, which is oral architecture and the incredibly complex structure of the way classical music is written and transcribed, the way a piece comes together, the way the instruments work, to me is just a grand and beautiful metaphor for how a city works, for how a town works, for how a building and a structure works. It's intensely structural. And I think those two things would be a really great entree. The other thing I might add as a minor or maybe an elective is plant science, not just because of landscape architecture, which intimately affects the lives of people in and out of the building and the building itself and the environment itself, but each plant is an edifice. Each plant is an architectural living entity, and I would posit that each plant is the ultimate model for bioarchitecture.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right. So I would say that, and I'm going to follow up on something you said about the fact that, the mechanical engineer will tell you about the things he does, and the kind of chemist will tell you a little bit about his understanding of chemistry, and the physicist. I would say and then what happens is usually we go back and say, hey, let me find more about like this thing now we can know all the sciences, but since I believe in the idea of an organic architecture, I believe the fundamental thing that we need to integrate. We do physics, we study physics because it helps us understand structures. I believe biology, a basic knowledge of biology will probably become an essential part of architecture, because there's so many inspirational systems and processes that take place in biology that we should just know as a basis to start our imaginations.
Absolutely.
Because I find that I've probably spent in the last 10 years a lot of time contemplating biological things as a non-biologist. But I find that if I've kind of educated myself on the fundamental principles, but I think that would be what I would say our discipline would need to integrate. Just the same way that we need to know physics, so we need to know structures, we probably need to know biology because of the systems that we're going to start integrating. And I mean, that's going to this is going to allow me to ask Ahu, you have this exciting project that you're working on with the National Science Foundation. Based on some of these things, is it something you can tell us a little bit about?
I mean, so there are I can divide the work to two different parts. So what my interest started during the PhD is kind of how to clean the indoor environments by using plants and their associated microorganisms, and how to connect that clean air to the indoor spaces and reduce the energy consumption profile of the buildings. So that's one of the projects that I have been working for years. And now we got a different project, which the PI of the project is Shi Chen, which is, he worked on this project for years, water responsive materials. Now we find a common ground, how really we can use water responsive materials to create the power what we need for the green walls to function. And therefore we are creating kind of green spaces, not just clean the air, but at the same time reduce the energy consumption. But the most important thing